Welcome. We have two parts of the presentation today, Microsoft Power BI and two, Supertyres point of sale. We're going to see how we can leverage the power of Power BI based on our data set on IBM. We start with data modeling. Data modeling is basically after we've acquired data into either a data pool, or in this case we're using data direct from our source on the IBM I. Power BI has numerous different connections that we can connect to. Include Excel workbooks, you can put in MySQL database, you can get Azure Synapse Analytics, and so forth. There are numerous connections available. In this particular instance, we're going to connect directly through an ODBC data connection. From our data connection, the ODBC data connection, I then choose my library that I'm looking for. In this case, it'll be normal test. And then I choose the files that I'm looking for. In this particular case, I'm just going to use a simple join between part master and the costing part master. I select the two files that I want to bring in, then load the data. Power BI will automatically sync these files up and link them based on their primary keys or duplicate keys that are inherent in the data files. Due to the fact that our database has got referential integrity, the keys and the relationships have been very easy to define and auto-detect from Microsoft, from the Power BI tool. These relationships can also be changed and modified. The advantage of using BI is that you're able to relatively inexpensively upskill yourselves or an employee to build dashboards and publish them for the group, or alternatively make use of the many different service providers available who specialize in BI reports using Microsoft BI. Once you've published, you can publish this for the group, and you can publish with different rights for users to see specific information. That is now available, and you can view it basically by clicking on the report or the dashboard that you would like to view, and then it becomes an interactive dashboard which you can then apply filters by selecting the data tables. All of this has drill down features into different reports that may exist, or different dashboards that may exist on different tabs, different pages. In this example, I've used a basic income statement where we can basically filter by year, and with further slices and dices we could then basically do year-on-year comparisons, month-on-month comparisons, just dependent on how we set up the scripts for the filters. The pie chart, the charts are also interactive to filter the data sets. There are tags, so that when you have a look at a pie chart you get an instant label and you can just refresh the data. Account code ZZ01 can be written in alphanumeric. The ZZ can be capital, small caps, enter. Rep code, they can just type in one letter and it will already find, and then they can use their toggle keys to go up and down. The account code ZZ01 will then get transferred over This is just some additional detail for the customer master for ZZ01. Order detail, order history will not be populated as yet because the ZZ01 account is linked to cash accounts. Quotes and orders, make a selection, and then of course date required. We'll default that date required to enter into today when they open up the screen. Right, we'll use our test registration number ND667094. Press enter, and automatically the data will then get populated. It'll look at the customer for that registration number under ZZ01, or additionally we could have account customers that have multiple registration numbers. We're linking basically the customer ID and this registration data. Vehicle name, vehicle type, that still has to be used as a combo. There will be a drop down and a selection for that. Obviously the same radio buttons for the ethnicity, current mileage, and then of course it will bring you a complete history of that client from descending date required. So open quotes would show status of pending, and then data could be added to it. If an order or a quote has already been completed, you can't add or modify additional details to it. In fact, then the retrieve button won't work. So we can click on the retrieve button. It'll just say the data will be copied for detail file if there isn't any available detail. In this particular case, I didn't have any on that one. Looking for a different one that actually has some customer order detail, that one there. So when I try and retrieve, it says it's already been, the data will be copied only for detail, and you can basically have a duplicate copy of the order. However, it will be linked to a new order number when we save this quote, not the old one. If we select a pending one, pending order, then we can retrieve the detail and modify it. Okay, that's the idea behind the history and the retrieve detail. So just some additional validation built into that retrieve detail button. Right, so we know here they can just type in and press enter, and then the program will operate on the back end. This table is filterable both on product code, product description, as well as stock on hand. Right click on the stock on hand, and you will then go, the system will then go and present what is in the other branches for that particular item. The idea would be on this is to double click the entry you want to take the stock from, and that would then allocate that stock from that branch into transfer so that they don't have it available on their books. It'll also we could also program in a prompt message on their side. Okay, that part still needs to be coded in that detail will then follow through. Normal section, this is just hard coded into part number, description, and quantity. This was in order to get the calculations correct. It'll also bring up the branch stock on hand, and then here the margin slider works on quantity and gross profit percentage. Both decimal places could be used. However, the slider only works at increments of 1 as it's an integer movement. Once you save that, it will then translate that information back into here, into the detail. Price negotiation would also just needs a little bit of work to map correctly, but basically the line selected that you select here in the detail will then be available for that price negotiation field there. Clear detail, give you a clean slate to work from. Quotes can also be saved from this, or orders can actually be saved from this window. Many thanks for your time in viewing this presentation.